Welcome back, everybody, to the 990 podcast. I am Jay,
I'm Ray.
and welcome to season 3.
Season 3.
Look at us. I'm proud of us, man.
After season 2. Yeah.
21 episodes in.
Episodes, bro.
Not bad, man.
Yeah,
Quite an
yeah.
accomplishment for a
Hey.
couple of folks that did not know what we were doing. Still don't know what we're doing, but we're 21 episodes in, so
Yeah.
there you go, right? I don't know, man. How's everything going?
Good. Nothing nuts. I mean, I don't know. We always talk about being busy, and just being busy is good.
Yeah.
I think because now that Zozo's getting a little older, it's the weight of me being one of her providers is a little bit heavier now.
I hear you. I
Yeah.
definitely
The older
hear
she
you.
gets, it's kind of the thing.
That makes sense, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, so, Ray and I, we took some time off from the pod. Appreciate everybody being patient for this episode. I know it's been some time in between, but yeah, man, I spent some time in Colorado with Tristan. My family's up there. So as I've talked about a lot of times, my sister, her family's there.
Yeah.
My mom and dad, they bought a place up there. So they're part-time
Did
up there
they?
as well. Yeah.
Ah.
I mean, honestly, if we didn't get this house, we'd be there too. So,
Yeah. Wow.
it's a beautiful place. We love it up there. We just missed the snow though. I was kind of bummed out.
I was going to ask how the weather was.
There was a
Yeah.
little bit of a flurry when we got in. So we thought it was going to stick. Next day it was gone. And then it was pretty much dry the entire time.
The only time I heard flurry in my
Is it
entire
a
life
McFlurry?
is a McFlurry. I've never heard anyone use
Yeah,
it.
yeah. Well, okay. So think about like snowfall that comes out of nowhere. The thing with Colorado in general, it's kind of schizophrenic weather, man.
I love it.
Yeah, 50s and 60s, so very comfortable. We talked about best weather, right?
Yep.
Sunny, a little bit cold,
Sounds right.
exactly what it is. And then out of nowhere, it just started snowing, and that's what they call a flurry. There was definitely white on the ground, but by the next day, it had pretty much melted away.
Sheesh.
But yeah, the as soon as we leave, of course, it dumps. I think they got 24 inches overnight.
Jeez, what?
So for the kids, they loved it.
Yeah.
Snow day is a real thing in the mainland where they basically have to call school off because it's so heavy.
That's so funny because I seen those in movies, like they
Yep.
get days off and you
I
got
know,
all
right?
the kids, the shot of the kids playing. I'm like, what is this?
Yeah, Hawaii kids are like, wait, what?
Wait, hold up. Yeah.
What is that? I know. I
Exactly.
don't even know what the equivalent of that would be here.
Right. Nothing.
Too much Sunday. It's
much
too
Sunday.
hot today.
Yeah, too hot today. Gotta cancel.
Yeah,
Imagine that.
I know,
Imagine
man.
that.
The UV exposure is too high, guys. You got to stay inside.
Yeah, and then you see all the kids outside playing dodgeball.
I know. But yeah, man, it was a good time. Tristan got sick, which is a bummer. Kind of a tradition up there. Every time we get up there, I think the altitude gets to her. The elevation's super heavy. So that is one thing that anybody traveling to Colorado, you got to get adjusted with. Make sure you get your alkaline water, stay hydrated.
Whoa.
But it does take some time to adjust to that altitude. It is a real thing. But yeah, man, with the magic of media here, with our posting here, you're going to be back for Japan.
Yeah.
And we'll definitely recap that trip when you get
We
back.
will. We definitely will. It's gonna be good.
I'm sure you had a great time.
Yeah. I had a great time. Yeah. What you watching right now?
Oh, man. So watch some really good stuff lately. I don't know if you've heard of Masters of Air before.
Oh, wait. Yeah.
It's on Apple TV. So Masters of Air was put together by Steven Spielberg, Tom Hanks. They, of course, did the Pacific and Band of Brothers after Saving Private Ryan. So it takes place World War II, all around D-Day. And, I love those movies. I love war movies. That's actually one of my favorite genres.
Is it part of Band of Brothers timeline?
Yes, it is.
Oh,
So,
okay.
The first mainline movie was going to be Saving Private Ryan, and then they did Band of Brothers, and then they did the Pacific following that. So it was the exact same war time frame happening in different places.
Yeah.
Masters of Air actually talks about the bombers, though. So they talk about all the aerial fighting that was happening above Germany during that time.
Got it. Wait. So let me clarify this for me, bro. I tried searching up Band of Brothers because we talked about it.
Yep.
And it came up in like a series. It was a series.
Yeah, it is.
It is. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought, for some reason, I had an inkling it was a movie.
Oh, okay.
But then it's a series.
It is.
Of like some of the actual people that were on that crew, right? Or that
Well,
Like,
it tells the story. It basically it's different characters. So
Yeah.
again, Saving Private Ryan's happening all during that same time. So it's
Okay.
just talking about different units in the army
Yeah.
that was going through the exact same battles.
But sometimes they bring in the actual people. Or
There's no crossover in this
no
one. There's
okay,
no
okay.
crossover in this one. So
What was
again,
I watching?
yes, the aesthetic is super similar. So
Okay.
if you like Private Ryan and kind of just the aesthetic of that movie, it carries over into
Okay, this
Band
must
of
be
Brothers
a
and Pacific.
different. This must be a different one that I was watching. It was
Yeah.
kind of like a documentary style.
Okay.
And they're bringing actors and they'll do the whole, scenes and whatnot.
Yeah.
But sometimes they'll put in like actual veterans that were in there.
That is Band of Brothers.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So what's really cool about the TV shows that Steven Spielberg did was
Yeah.
he actually got a lot of the stories from actual veterans
Got
of
it.
the
Okay.
battles.
Okay.
And then a lot of them were luckily still alive during time of filming. So
Yeah,
they were
wow.
able to kind of showcase them at the end of
Gotcha,
so
right,
a lot
okay.
of these characters that you get really attached to during the show, you come to find out they were actual
Real
people
people.
and lived
That's
through
crazy.
it.
Yeah.
Which was wild. So that's probably you
Yeah.
probably did watch it.
I probably did. And one of the guys, I remember one of the scenes, one of the guys they were interviewing was like, I mean, they're paying like $50, and I was like, yeah, let's do it. So, some like low amount of number,
Yeah,
and I was
yeah.
like, man, those are hard times.
Oh, tell me about it.
yeah.
Man, for
So
sure.
there's Band of Brothers, and then Masters of Air.
Masters
correct?
of Air is the
Okay.
newest one, and yeah, again, if you enjoyed that one, I think you'd really like that.
So Masters of Air is going to be a series. I feel like we're promoting it.
it's a mini series actually concluded. I think there's only
Okay.
9 episodes total.
Gotcha.
But
With
I recommend that.
Barry was he in one of them?
Who?
Barry Cogan.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yes. Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay,
He
okay.
is. He's in that.
But there's
He
some
is.
other.
Austin Butler, Elvis. Is the main
Elvis.
character.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
The guy that
don't
played Elvis in the new movie. He's the main character, Austin Butler.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Trying to think what else we're watching. Shogun.
Yeah, I've heard. We talk off camera. I was like, that's one of the ones that's been making noise.
Dude, it's good. It's really good.
Is it on Hulu? Might have to-
It is. It is. It's on Hulu. I think it's an FX show if I'm not
FX,
mistaken, but it's on Hulu. It's during the Edo period. I want to say the 1600s or so. It's fascinating. I mean, honestly, it's what I really like about it is I think that the people that put it together really cared about being historically accurate as much as possible.
You gotta love that, man.
So between costume design, between the sets, you know, one thing that I really, it sucks because you kind of hit this conundrum when you're making TV and movies where you want to hit a mass audience.
Sure.
You want to have broad appeal, right?
Yeah.
But a lot of times, you know, when you have foreign language, it's not, I don't want to say a turnoff, but you do kind of alienate some people that kind of want everything maybe just in English. So that is always kind of a risk and a gamble
Interesting.
that I think a lot of filmmakers take. But what
Yeah.
they did with this, luckily, this is actually based off of a novel.
Okay.
So James Clavell, I believe that's the author's name, wrote this novel. This is a remake of a miniseries that happened, I want to say back in the 80s. And the only reason I remember that is my dad was a huge fan
of this.
of this miniseries. So
Oh, wow.
there was a miniseries called Shogun
That's crazy.
back in the 80s. And same storyline, of course. I think they changed some things in it. But for the most part, it will follow, you know, the adventures of this British captain that ends up in Japan and just kind of everything that happens. So what's really funny is if you watch it and then you watch Last Summer, you're like, wait a second, this sounds a little familiar.
Oh, really?
I do feel like they
What
kind
was
of
Last
borrowed
Summer?
with Last Samurai with
Last
Tom,
Samurai, Tom Hanks.
Tom Cruise, yeah.
Oh, Tom Hanks, Tom Cruise. Yeah.
my wife's favorite actor. But yeah. I was joking about it. I was like, hey man, finally he's like same height as his co-stars.
Bro, how does that work?
I know, right? He feels tall in Japan. But yeah, man, it's really good. It's I highly recommend it. They did so going back to the language part.
Yeah.
they kept everything in Japanese. They resisted the urge to have the main characters speak in English, but it serves to the story because you have somebody that is English speaking,
Yeah.
comes there and he basically has to learn the culture. So a lot of it is again kind of just things being lost in translation, but I think
Yeah.
it serves to the story really well that they didn't put it in English. It would have taken away from the story a lot.
Yeah, that would have
Yeah.
been weird though. It's like a manga where I can't watch
The English
anime.
dubs?
Yeah,
Really?
it's so weird. Yeah,
Not even Dragon Ball.
I mean, had to.
Yeah, right. I know.
But then now that it's up on wherever it is, they have the Japanese version.
for sure. Rest in
Yeah.
peace to the goat, by the way.
Hey, yeah, that was a big thing. I think, yeah, it was kind of worldwide.
Akira, what was his last name?
I'm not a huge Dragon Ball Z fan, bro.
Okay, my bad. I
Yo,
just
you guys are gonna. Yeah. No. I Dragon Ball wasn't really. I didn't grow up with Dragon Ball actually. Most of them, even like Naruto. I think I mentioned this where I didn't grow up with cable, so like we didn't. I didn't get all the shows in.
Akira Toriyama.
Toriyama.
Man.
Gotta do.
Fake
gotta do
fans.
justice.
I'm gonna get called out here. Like
well,
this.
I'm not out here with a Dragon Ball tattoo, so I think I'm safe.
There you go.
But yeah, I can't watch anime with the English.
Interesting,
English subs.
man.
Yeah.
That's fascinating. I think that might be the only genre that I like, but it's dubbed. Well, you know why? Because for the most part, you can match the voice to
Sure.
to the animation versus I think when they're doing it and you have live action, it's always going to be off. You can never sync it just because the dialect's so different, right?
Also, I mean, with English, you can do things while you're watching the TV. If you have to read, and you have to be really, focused because you have to read what they're saying. And
Definitely.
yeah. So yeah, there's pros and cons.
Yeah. Big. I want to say this is a big year for Japan though, because Tokyo Vice is also season 2 is going on right now.
Talk to me about that. I'm not
man.
familiar with any of the Vices.
Tokyo Vice, they're on their second season. It's actually a true story. So again, I think that there's a lot of liberties that they ended up taking to make the story a little bit more sensationalized. But what it is, it follows. He is an American that basically is an expat. He moved to Japan with the idea that he was going to study the culture and then get a job in journalism. So you watch him go through it. Ansel Egert's the actor, and he's really good. So from what I hear, what's really interesting about the story is the backstory is he moved to Japan prior to filming and just immersed himself in culture. So what's dope about it is he actually learned Japanese language.
Yeah, that's sick.
It is. Talking about Ken Watanabe, his co-star, what he said was pretty phenomenal. He said most times that you have an English actor that is starring in a role that requires Japanese speaking, they'll mimic the language, so they can kind of emulate the accent and whatnot, but they don't have context to what's happening. They're just basically reciting lines.
Sure.
Any good actor can do that.
Yeah.
And so Egort actually can speak Japanese though, so he could have conversations with him offset, which was something very new to Ken Watanabe. So he said his Japanese
sick,
is actually
bro.
really good. So that alone makes the show very interesting because there's only a couple of American characters
Like you said, that
in the show, but they both are embedded in the Japanese culture. So I think that in itself makes it a really interesting watch. But also, I mean, one of my favorite topics, like crime, right? So the Yakuza, it's about the Yakuza. So this he gets a job reporting for a very reputable newspaper in Japan. And what's interesting about Japan as well is print media is not dead there, even to this day. So this is taking place in the early 90s, I believe.
Okay.
But print media is still alive and well there. And what's another thing that's really fascinating is the relationship that reporters have with police.
Sure.
As well as with people that are actually they have a very interesting relationship with crime as well.
Yeah.
So their thing is just reporting. So Japan, it's all about relationships, right?
Yeah.
So for them, because they're a society of respect, if you show respect, you can kind of get into any door as long as you let your intentions be known and are open and honest. So this reporter, I think a lot of people are just really kind of almost like enamored by him because of how he's kind of immersed himself into Japanese culture. He can kind of navigate his way through just both police as well as the Yakuza.
Yeah.
And he can report on things without getting in trouble on both sides. So he kind of plays both sides. And it's kind of the story of him really solving crimes, but also, like establishing relationships with both sides of the law.
Uh-huh.
It's very fascinating.
Wow. Yeah, that sounds fun. Like
Yeah.
I'm definitely gonna put that on.
Definitely, man.
That might be the next one to watch. Yeah. Is it on Netflix?
That one's on HBO Max.
HBO Max.
And then I think
Okay.
last thing that I watched, Poor Things, man. Emma Stone. So I don't know if you watched the Oscars, but she just won.
I heard that.
Yeah, she just won for her performance. So I was like, you know, I gotta see why she won, and I get it. It's a strange movie, dude.
Really?
Really strange. Premise for the most part is you have this doctor, played by Willem Dafoe, and he's kind of just a mad scientist.
Hey man, he's like the perfect mad
Oh, he's
scientist.
the perfect. He's the Green
perfect-
Goblin,
Green
dude.
Goblin.
He
Yeah,
just looks
yeah.
like a mad scientist.
Yeah, he
but,
does. Yeah.
you know, in this fictitious world, he's does study of anatomy, so he works a lot with corpses, and he discovers a woman who was recently deceased that had a baby. And then, for whatever reason, rather than attempting to save the baby, he takes the baby's brain and puts it into the woman's body. So
What is the?
yeah, I know. It
This is the
doesn't.
first time I'm hearing
Yeah,
this.
it doesn't make any sense. But essentially, what it is a woman who's full grown that has the mind of a child, and it just shows the evolution of her learning how to be a fully fledged adult.
What in the world?
It is very bizarre.
Yeah.
You know, obviously that storyline can only happen in fiction. It would never happen in the real world. But as far as costume set designs, really good. And she went for it, man. Like you talk about actors and actresses that kind of just take a chance. She
Yeah.
went for it, man. And
Yeah.
then I think it paid off. Still a little bummed out that Lily Gladstone didn't take it home for Killers of the Flower Moon. But all in all, I mean, you can see why she won. And this is going to be her second Oscar win. First one was
Wow.
for La La Land.
La La Land. Yeah.
But I mean, as we know, Best Picture went to Oppenheimer. Still haven't watched it, huh?
No.
Oh, this guy.
It's funny because
It's on. You can get it on like a lot of the different apps right now.
for free.
If you have Peacock.
Oh no.
Why am I dropping all these app names?
But what's sounding more enticing right now is Tokyo Vice. Actually,
Hey, man.
that caught my ears, bro.
Yeah.
That
Highly
might be-
recommended.
Yeah, I mean, I'm at some point Oppenheimer's gonna come out.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
But would you say the consensus with like the OG movie heads would say that was a good deserve or maybe second place?
Out of all the movies that came up during 2023, I think that hands down was the best movie. And also what came hand in hand with that, obviously they won for a bunch of things. I think the composer won. Robert Downey Jr. won for Best Supporting Actor.
seen
and
that,
then
yeah.
Cillian Murphy won for Best Actor. But also my man Christopher Nolan finally won Best Director. And that was his first Oscar. So it was actually his first Oscar for all three of them. Cillian Murphy, Robert Downey Jr., believe it or not, has not won an Oscar before.
Who?
Even though
Robert.
RDJ, yeah.
Oh,
Robert
really?
Yeah, I think he should have gone
That's
for
weird.
Tropic Thunder personally. But I don't know if that's an unpopular opinion, but he probably should have got one for that too.
You should have got one for that.
And then of course, yeah, Christopher Nolan, man, putting out the bangers, putting out the hits, got his Oscars. So his stake just went up even further.
Yeah. Now I wonder about not the friendly competition with like directors and people
yeah.
getting these high accolades, and I wonder if how much that drives other
For
directors.
sure. Well, he was up against a couple of really really big names. I think everybody thought Scorsese might have won it again for Killers of the Flower Moon.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, if you watch the movie, you'll see that it was definitely the best picture that year. And, you got to kind of honor the man that put it together, right? So a lot of people don't know that he's also the writer. A lot of these screenplays are actually written and adapted to screen by Christopher Nolan. Him and his brother are a writing team. So a lot of these are, if it's not an original screenplay like Inception or Interstellar, which they conceptualized and wrote, he'll adapt it from a book or whatnot. So that in itself is a talent. And then not only writing it for screen, but also directing. Yeah. So he definitely deserved it. And what was cool was it was presented by Steven Spielberg, which is one of his idols. So you gotta love that, right?
Yeah. I think about Well, there's directors and then writers themselves, like Tarantino writes his stuff too,
Yep,
right?
you got it.
I wonder if those things are just like natural to them, or if it's something that they, hey, when I grow up, I'm gonna be a director and a writer, or not but you know what I mean? Like if they can do these things easily, like is that a natural thing or?
Well, I think what's really dope is these guys who are so successful, they surround themselves with a winning team. You know what I mean? I think that
Bars.
they know what they're capable of, so they have a vision, and then from there they find the people that can help them execute that vision.
Yeah.
And if you look at like people like Tarantino, people like Scorsese, and people like Christopher Nolan, they surround themselves with really, really good people, and I think that's why it translates so well into their movies. Yeah, man.
There's a audiobook that I was listening to, and I think he was going over what makes people great, or like synergy between teams or whatnot.
Yep.
But he said like if you have good skill with bringing people together,
Yes.
that's like that's a huge factor.
Oh, absolutely.
A huge factor. It's just bringing a community together or bringing a certain particular team.
Absolutely.
It's like because you have to know the players and know their particular strengths.
There you go.
And this book was kind of nuts because they were explaining about like this earthquake or something where people got trapped and there was only certain ways to rescue them.
Okay.
And he brought in like just particular people.
Yeah.
And was just very humble and very like not like, hey, this is the way we're gonna do it.
Got it.
Very open. Just talking about the characteristics, and I just thought about this type of person that brings in the right people.
Definitely.
So yeah, that's a good that's a good gem because in business stuff, you got to surround yourself with people, right?
Specific set of skills, right?
Yeah, yeah. When I think about something that comes easy to me, like how these writers, might. I think music comes easy to me sometimes.
Okay, yeah.
I was playing at church today, and I was like, man, I'm glad that I can pick up a little bit easier than most.
What were we playing today?
Drums today.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, and it's like drums are like it's the most fun, I think.
Hey.
It's the most fun.
It looks the most fun.
Yeah.
No, honestly, I don't know, man. Like I don't want to say everybody can play a guitar because I cannot. I can't play the guitar, but I feel like that skill set is like drumming is completely different. Like,
it's a different set of like what would you call it? Not skill, like because you need timing. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
There's just different skill sets within those skill sets.
For sure.
Yeah, so like drumming, what I think is a good drummer is that they can keep the pace. That's like my ultimate pet peeve. Like you can do rolls, but if you cannot do them on time, it's like or at the right time.
Okay, gotcha.
Then it makes no sense. Like so, like for me, I think a good drummer can keep beats, knows how to keep the song. What do you call knit together? I guess in a sense.
Yep.
It's different because with church music, with worship music, and like regular songs, songs are set, right?
Yep.
And for worship, at least the way that we do it, there's no like set. There's like direction, but you need to know how loud to get.
Okay.
Or you need to know. You're almost like an indicator. If you're gonna do a roll at a particular time, then you're letting everyone know, hey, the course is coming up. So you're almost like, hey guys, we're going this way, we're going this way. Yeah. And so the intuition with knowing where a song's going is a good one too. Chad Smith, how we
Chili
listen.
Peppers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, when we listen to that,
Active listening. Yep.
and it's like he just knows. He listens to the song and the chords and how it's played, and he can just weave that in how
it's wild.
Yeah, so that that was nuts.
For modern music, do you have a goat drummer that you can think of?
Oh, modern music, no, but one memorable drummer. I mean, there's technical drummers, and then there's like metal hardcore where they're super talented with just articulation and double bassing. His name Griner, Matt something from August Burns Red.
Okay,
he's one. Just super technical. Where if you show it to someone, they're gonna be like super amazed.
Gotcha.
But then for him, it's just another role, right?
Travis Barker.
Travis Barker.
Oh, bro.
My friend was always said, man, Blink-182, they're nothing without Travis Barker.
Dude.
And I was like, are you kind of true? It's kind of
it's so funny because like he's just a musical dude. Like like of course got the pop punk. He does he can do metal. He did every genre though.
Yeah,
he does a lot of work in hip hop. A lot of people don't realize how much production he does in hip hop. A lot. He's drummed for a lot of people. Done stuff with Young Thug, The Game. Like he's done a lot of percussion, but also he's just a music fan, which makes him that much more dangerous because he can kind of play any genre. If that makes sense, right?
Right. Yeah. Travis Barker was one of the drummers everyone looked up to in high school.
Well, because I mean, again, it's a trio, right, for Blink-182.
Yeah.
But like everybody knows Travis Barker. That's a household name.
It is
for sure.
So music, that's kind of something that I can,
man,
pick up real quick. Is there something that comes easy for you?
Oof. Well, you know what? Let's talk about this. I think this is a good topic today. We talked about things that come easy for us versus things that come hard, maybe.
Right.
You know what? Let's get the hard stuff out of the way. Yeah.
You want me to start off?
Yeah, go ahead, man.
The first thing that comes into my mind is sticking with business ventures. Yeah, bro.
Indulge.
I think it's just I hate that I took the Myers-Briggs test.
Okay.
And mine's is a ENFP, and I'll just kind of sum that up, which is this type of person is very inclusive. So like if we're in a circle and we're talking about something and some guy doesn't speak, he's like, hey Jerry, what about you? Like, what do you think about it? I just kind of like that. It says extrovert, E is for extrovert,
right?
And I'm like, now these days, I'm like, I don't know if that's me these days. But then I was looking at the attributes and stuff, and it's like has many ideas.
Okay.
Has lots of things that they want to try, but never really sticks to one thing, and really pushes that. And I mean, that's good and bad because you can really position this type of person somewhere where they can thrive. But in a business sense, if there's too much,
interesting,
too much ideas,
okay,
then it doesn't work out well.
What would be okay? So give me some examples. Not throwing you under the bus here. I'm just curious. Yeah.
So I think these days I overthink, but for me, I love a lot of things, man, and like photography is one, video is one. Those are two already major separate things. Playing music is a huge one. So I think I tried wedding. Honestly, too, if I just stick to one, I think I'd be fine.
Sure.
But
do you get bored, or like what derails you from the initial plan? Do you think?
Good question.
Yeah,
I think it's the business aspect. As with many.
Okay.
So I think one time we were talking about certain people, and we're like, yeah, we start the business. We start, the easy things, the LLC and whatever. But then it's like, oh shucks, Hawaii has a fee that you need to pay this, and it's like, wait, how do you do that, or where do you do this?
Yeah.
And then something comes up, and you're like, let's nip it in the butt.
Yeah.
And so I don't know, and I don't know if that passion isn't enough to drive, or what's the answer to that? I guess.
Yeah. Do you have an umbrella LLC right now that you can kind of use as a parent company? Mm-hmm. Okay, that makes sense. Well, I think what's good is, you're only going to get taxed on the money you make. So if you're not currently drawing revenue, you're not going to get taxed on it, which is good. You've already set up the business, which I think is awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it's all about just kind of focusing in on what is going to not just you're going to be passionate about, but what's something that you can have longevity with, right?
Right. I know. That's the thing, because I think in the back of my head, it's like, man, I don't know if I want to be tethered to this one thing the whole time.
Have you ever, I mean, and this is always tricky because there are benefits and there are definitely pitfalls to having partnerships. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
I think obviously, partnerships can always go sour, and that's a reality. Like things happen, life happens. And
100%.
You can see things have created differences sometimes, more overtly than others. That can kind of drive a stake in in what your original plan was.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, on a positive note, sometimes you just have different skill sets, right? Where
Right,
you have the
right.
creative person and you have the business minded person.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know if you've ever thought about it, looking into somebody as a business partner that kind of just was able to run the numbers.
Yeah. I mean, now these days I'm like, and as you're talking, Joe, as I'm thinking while you're talking, I'm like, oh shoot, I've always I was always in the passenger seat because I love being the second player, if that makes sense.
That makes sense. Okay.
When I was growing up, every time we played games, I would always want to be the support. even today, like that Dota game I was playing,
Yeah.
I love playing the support roles.
Oh, gotcha.
But then now
you were Michelangelo, not Leonardo.
yeah. I was always like, hey, let me help you. Let me be the healer. Let me be, because
Okay.
I never want to.
That's personality, though, man.
But now it's like, okay, I need to make that decision because on the business level, you can't have those traits.
I got it.
You
I
have
got
to.
it.
So that's kind of
No, that's interesting.
things that come hard to me.
You know what's interesting is if I were to ever do entrepreneurship again, I think the only person that I would ever consider doing business with is my wife.
That's
Tristan.
what I was thinking.
And I guess because, like for better or worse, you stuck with her, right?
You got that contract,
yeah,
bro.
man. I'm like, hey, we gotta work this out. Otherwise, I'm gonna hear about it once we get home.
I
but,
know.
Nah, but honestly, I think what it is, it's so interesting because in general, I'd like to think that I'm a pretty creative person, but my creativity is actually trumped by Tristan's creativity. She's such a creative, and I think just because she's just got such an ingenuitive mind and she's always thinking about things. But when it comes to just the know-how of stuff, that's kind of where I come in, and I'm like, well, this is what you got to do, A, B, and C. And I know we talked about this in previous episodes, but you kind of got to have the mind for both, right? You got to have that balance. And, I think what for you, because you're such a talented person, right? I think you got to just find something that you can commit to, but you got to simplify it. We tend to just make things way more complicated than they need to be.
I agree.
And that's a lot of times when we get that in our head, that's where we kind of falter because it just becomes so daunting. But I think the best business plans are the simplest ones. You just find a need and you find how you can fulfill a need.
I'm hearing this everywhere, bro.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not that hard. People are making it complicated.
Oh, for sure, man. Because, you look at like, okay, what's going to set me apart?
Yeah.
And then you look at the people that are actually making money and all they're doing is fulfilling needs.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like,
exactly. Yeah.
I need a plumber. I need somebody that's going to help me take pictures of this.
Exactly.
And you're like, well, I can do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's kind of what it boils down to. So
it's funny because and I don't know if this is part of creative, but I have these goals and how something should look like,
for sure,
and the standard is so high.
Oh, definitely.
And I'm like,
that is 100% because you are creative.
And I'm just like, I don't know if I want to do this because I know what it takes to
well, okay, so
to get to this point.
The reason why I'm really enjoying this podcast is because you and I are perfectionists and we are putting out something that we're proud of, but we know isn't perfect.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a struggle.
Right.
Because you're just being open, honest, and transparent about it. Like, well, hey, this is what our thoughts are. I go back and I'm like, oh man, I said that. Like, but it is what it is, right? It and I think this is a good lesson in not everything needs to be perfect.
Right. Right.
Sometimes you just put things out because you're passionate about it and you got to just live with that. And that's totally fine.
I recently did a job and I was thinking like, man, like, cause as you're talking about this, being open and transparent, while you're doing that, you are actually, you are taking off any expectations whatsoever.
There you go.
And so that allows you to be like, your best self, right?
Oh, for sure.
And so I just thought about yesterday, bro. I was like, man, I'm talking to myself and I'm like, why don't you work like you're doing it for free, but charge what you would charge?
There you go. Yeah.
It's just a mindset shift. Shift of mindset.
Absolutely.
And so
No,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think that's there. No, I think that's there.
Yeah.
You also undercharge quite.
Yeah.
I know this from personal experience.
Yeah.
My man Ray is worth way more than he charges. So
I'm telling you, man. Like,
I feel like I should be your business manager. Like, nah, that's way too low, Ray. You gotta charge higher, bro.
bro, like I told
You're too nice, man.
If I was a millionaire,
Yeah.
I'd just go around.
I know you would.
Yo,
I know you
it's
would.
just fun, man.
Yeah.
But for my particular type of person,
Yeah.
I thought about that yesterday and I was like, hey, if you're hearing this, man, if you're like a person that likes to help and like I have a hard time charging people, just think about that. That's what I'm trying to tell myself is work like you're doing it for free.
There you go.
Because I just tend to like enjoy more and do the best work.
There you go.
Versus, hey, I'm charging this much. That means they're gonna want something, this way or that way.
Okay,
and I'm like, okay, I'm kind of like jittery now.
Well,
yeah. So
I don't know. I feel like in general, when somebody hires someone that is a professional in the field, they are trusting your judgment, and they
Right.
know that the reason why you got hired is because you possess the skills that they lack.
Right.
So they're gonna err to your judgment on a lot of these things, and I think you got to just kind of trust yourself and have confidence in yourself in that part.
I hear you. I'll take that.
Life lessons,
Life
101.
lessons. Let's go. Hey, that was fun business. Tangent.
Let me think here. Things that are hard for
Things
me.
are hard for you. Yeah.
Bro, info retention.
Info retention.
Information retention is difficult for me.
This doesn't sound like you have a hard time. But then again, we're only talking about movies.
Yeah. Okay, so when I say info retention, just on a small scope, I'm very bad with names. Okay. I'm very good with faces, but I am the dude that literally will see somebody at a party and be like, "What's up, my guy? How's it going, my brother? Hey, homie, how you doing, bro? Get in there."
Yo.
You know what I mean? Like, there have been so many times when I have had Tristan, who will literally know that I'm frozen in fear because I don't remember somebody's name in a conversation, and she will have to step in and literally be like, "My husband's so rude. Like, my name is Tristan," and then the other person will kind of catch cue and will introduce themselves, and then try not to make it. You gotta
That's
have
so good.
You gotta have a partner that knows your flaws,
Tricks,
man.
bro. Hey, shouts out Tris, man.
Yeah. But if you ever hear her introduce yourself, I forgot your name. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's something, man. That's a real thing. Okay, this is even further than that. Okay. I don't want to go to my high school reunion because I'm afraid that I'm not gonna forget. I didn't go to my 10-year reunion. I didn't go to my 20-year reunion. I'm on my 25th year reunion. That's how old as I am.
Hey, man, you gotta go, bro.
No, bro. I mean, but honestly, like it is literally a fear of mine that I'm gonna go there. And I don't sound like an egomaniac here, but I'm pretty recognizable as far as like I don't look any different than.
Sure.
I gained a lot of weight, but aside from that, I pretty much look the same that I did in high school. Knock on wood, But there are times where I'm afraid I might not be able to recollect someone.
Bro, it's been 25 years.
I know, but
Can you use that as a reason?
I don't know.
And be like, hey, man, it's been 25 years. Remind me again.
You know what's even worse though? Freaking Facebook and Instagram, because then I get all these friend requests. I'm like, I don't know who the frick
Who's
this
it?
person is. Like, I see Kylie O'Connor. I'm like, probably went to school with them. All right, click.
Yeah.
But that's embarrassing, man. I don't.
Yeah.
Do you have a hard time remembering people's names?
I do, but since that, maybe a couple of years ago, maybe the last 5 years, I just started putting down names, bro, on my notes. If I know I'm gonna be in a particular building for a while, I'll write them down, and then
smart.
I'll have descriptions of them. So let me read some of you today.
Please.
Let's hear you. Rylan, long hair, smaller frame, quick. This basketball.
Oh,
on my knee.
okay.
Let's see.
Shout out to Ryan.
Zippy's YPO. Oh, shucks. Maybe I should have said that. Kiala, thick, long, curly hair. Works nights usually.
Oh, hey. This is good.
James, reunion, wheelchair, bolo, head glasses.
Dude, I'm gonna have to take this tip, and you put this all in notes.
I put it all in notes, bro. And it's funny because 95% of the time, I'll remember who it is.
There you go. You just need something, right? Like whether it's just a physical feature, or like something that distinguishes them from other people.
Exactly. And it's funny because this came up in my old workplace, and I was like, we did this huddle before. We do it every time we go on the floor, and they were like giving tips or whatever, and they're like, "Oh, so does anyone else have any tips?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, I got one. It's super important to remember names, guys, because you want to make it personal.
Sure.
Not to remember just to make them think you're being, but really get to know their names and repeat. Hey Kyle, like what you said you had kids. Do you think you need this waterproof case or whatever? And so I started writing down names because names is such a
smart.
It's so personal when someone hears your name while you build rapport while you're doing it. So
Bro, my neighbor, who is the sweetest lady in the world, her name's Rachel.
How does you gonna say you didn't know her name?
I straight up called her Janet for freaking. I can't even tell you, and she didn't correct me because she's so nice. And then and once I realized that her name was Rachel, everything I say was like, "Hey Rachel, how you doing, Rachel?
Yeah.
Rachel, how's everything going? Rachel, let me know if you need anything. Here's my phone number, Rachel."
Yeah.
And I just had to repetition, man. But I was so embarrassed. She was probably like, This guy.
This freaking guy.
This guy just moved in. Doesn't even know my name. Doesn't even sound like Rachel. Where'd you get Janet from, fool?
Where did you get Janet
I don't
from,
know, man.
bro?
It just she seemed
Super
like,
Bowl?
I don't know, man. I don't know. But things like that, and it's so funny. We talked in the Goat Talk episode about notes and how important that is.
Yeah.
It's true, man.
Yeah.
Another thing when I talk about info retention, this is horrible. Do you memorize phone numbers?
Only my wife's.
Me too.
Yeah.
And you know what? Even that took a while. Okay, so I blame iPhones. I'm sorry, things just get you don't realize, right? Like how back in the day when you had to dial a number,
Okay.
that you just had this just retention of information of like,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
like whatever, right? But like nowadays you just look for a name, you don't even realize what number it is.
True.
You
true.
know,
Yeah. Do you remember your home phone number?
Back, I don't have a home phone number
I
now.
mean,
but,
back
in the
then,
day, yeah,
you still
yeah.
remember?
Yeah,
Yeah,
of
me
course.
too. That one I remember, yeah.
That's forever burned in your memory, right?
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, man, like to this day, we just talked about Colorado. My sister's address, we send so much stuff up there to Colorado. I have to ask Tristan, what's Marcy's address again?
Same, bro.
I gotta ask her, like, what's mom and dad's condo address? And she's just like, how do you not know this stuff? And I'm like, dude, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just numbers to me. So what's wild is okay, so like my sister, she's an entrepreneur. She uses she's got business credit cards and whatnot, right?
Yeah.
She was buying something and then she just literally was like, oh, we had to use her card for something. She just spouted it out. I'm like, are you reading something? She's like, no. She memorizes all her card numbers.
That's kind of
every single one of them, dates, the CCV number. I'm like, dude,
man, I feel like you need a reason for that to remember that.
Dude, it's so wild though how some people's memory is so good.
Right,
and
right.
for me, I'm like, I wouldn't even know where to begin.
Yeah,
I would be one of those guys that if I lost my phone,
yeah.
oh man, I'd be in a world of hurt.
Hey man, Apple Watch.
Yeah.
Ping that thing.
Oh, dude, but it's funny how reliant we've become on technology.
Yeah,
I think if there's a goal for me, it would probably be to draw back a little bit more. Kind of go old school. We use an app for everything. Maybe pen and paper might be the way for times when it comes to writing some things down, just so I remember it.
Yeah,
but also yeah, man.
When I think of like not problems, but things like that, I think systems are the answer. And so when I think about systems, Joss decided to have a number that is consecutive. Okay. So the first three are different. It's like 733 or whatever, but then the next four are consecutive. So like 4, 5, 6, 7.
You're not giving me your credit card number.
No. I'm just.
I was like, second rate.
But then she purposely chose that because it's easy to remember. Okay. It's consecutive numbers.
Got it.
So that's a system that I see it as a system that, that's a good idea.
Okay.
Something like, systems are good for,
man.
It's all built on systems.
Definitely.
Something else that comes hard for me is articulating thoughts.
Okay.
Articulating thoughts. Yeah. And I wanted to see, this is another idea I wanted to start with, just to film just daily vocabulary.
Okay.
That would, use it in a sentence or whatever it is.
Gotcha.
Because I don't know, but I feel like there's people like me where it's like, how do you articulate your thoughts better? And it's like, okay, maybe I don't have a big vocabulary bank. And so that's something I got to work on.
How often do you learn new words?
Never.
Okay.
But, I thought about it, Jay, and I was like, man, some people speak so eloquently. And I think a lot of it has to do with how someone grows up.
Okay.
I don't know. Growing up for myself, I don't know. Maybe it was Wapau. But there weren't really, it's a different way of speaking here versus the mainland, right?
I gotcha.
And so I was listening to this mainland guy speak. I mean, he's somewhere from the mainland, but I was like, man, this guy looks cool. Like, this is something I would want to emulate, or, but I was thinking, yeah, how do you even practice that? Or did you grow up with, 5 people that spoke like that around you? You know what I mean? Yeah. So I'm like, it's kind of difficult to learn in my older age because, you tend to, you tend to retain a lot more information when you're younger.
Oh, definitely.
Right? You're a sponge.
If you look at like people that learn second language, second, third languages, it's because they were learning it from a child.
Yeah.
As a child, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And so I'm like, shucks, it's kind of hard to, and another thing is that, like, where do you practice this even?
Yeah.
On a podcast?
Yeah. Has this, would you say that this helps sometimes?
I would say that this is helping a lot.
Okay, good.
As much as I'm not sure about it, I feel like it is
Definitely.
helping a lot.
Okay.
Because even the art of speaking, like, you don't have a place to do that unless that's your job.
Oh no, for sure.
Right?
For sure.
And so in order for myself, even now, in order for myself to speak this much, it's just weird, unusual. Because again, the second player is like, I tend to just keep quiet.
Okay.
And so, but I'm an active thinker. So a lot of things in my head are going on, there's a lot of things going on in my head.
Yeah.
And I think I mentioned it to you before, Joe, where I was like, I think my hit rate for like really articulating or conveying what I really think about is probably like 65%.
Okay.
Otherwise, I have to make this long, paragraph about why I said this thing.
Sure. Are you, so you're afraid of things being misinterpreted?
I would say a lot.
Okay. So you would almost rather not say it versus it being misinterpreted.
Yeah.
Okay.
So even with Joss, I'm like, sometimes I pick and choose my battles, and I'm like, do I want to go down this road of explaining why I made this decision?
Okay.
Because I know I'm gonna have a hard time doing that.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, I get it.
Yeah, so that's tough.
You gotta have outlets for that, man. You can't internalize it.
That's true.
It's not healthy either, right?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's. Are we talking about like conflicts or
just in general? I think anytime where if it's potential for frustration, where you're like, okay, I have these ideas or have these thoughts on something, but I feel like I can't express them clearly, therefore I will keep them to myself. That can wear on somebody.
Oh,
that
yeah,
can definitely
for sure.
wear on somebody, both positive and negative. Can you imagine if you had like really good ideas, but you're like, oh, I don't know how to express this clearly right now? And then, and therefore, if I don't feel comfortable in this setting to share what my thoughts are, or I'm afraid that it might get misinterpreted, then man, a lot of times. And that's where it's tough too, right? When you talk about personalities, introverts versus extroverts, right?
Yeah. I'm glad I don't get to that point where it's like, because if I think I have like a fire idea, I'm gonna take my chances and see.
There you go.
But then, I can't understand. I can't believe that there might be people like that.
Oh, definitely.
There's people like that.
For sure.
Yeah, but I'm working on it. I just try to listen to a lot of people and be like, okay, let's listen more to this guy.
There you go.
And that's one of the things I'm grateful for this podcast for, because get to talk and practice skill sets. Yeah,
for sure. There you go. Let me think. One more thing for me as far as things that I have a hard time with. Muscle memory. I'm kind of just making myself sound like an old man here, but Okay, so we talked about information retention.
Uh-huh.
Muscle memory is actually a thing for me too. Okay, so
Okay.
what I mean by that is if I don't physically practice something,
Yeah.
I'll lose I won't retain it, if that
Yeah.
makes sense. So, perfect example. A lot of people laugh when I say that I can't swim good. Okay, they're like, "You grew up in Hawaii. Why don't you go in the water? Why don't you surf? How come you don't? Whatever, right?"
Interesting.
I can't swim. I can swim in the sense of like if I had to survive and doggy paddle
Yeah.
and tread water.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So I don't think I'll drown. Knock on wood. But am I a good swimmer? Absolutely not. Did I
Yeah.
grow up swimming? For sure. Okay. So I was in swim lessons. I
Yeah.
swam at the pool. My mom and dad had me in the water when I was young. For whatever reason, after I don't know what age I stopped just jumping in the water. It just
Yeah.
wasn't a thing. All of my friends were going to the beach every single weekend.
Yeah.
I would go with them. I wasn't in the water though. You know, like they
Interesting.
were on boards, boogie boards. They were on surfboards.
Yeah.
I'd just be at the beach chilling out. You know what I mean? Like, and,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
for whatever reason, I kind of just lost that skill. So things like that. I think about. I played baseball pretty much my entire life. Okay, and if you were to ask me, like, do you feel confident throwing a pitch at a baseball game right now? Absolutely
Were you a
not.
pitcher?
No.
okay,
I wasn't.
yeah,
I
okay.
wasn't. But I'm just thinking of like like when people have like opening day and they have like some celebrity throw the first pitch.
Oh, yeah.
That would be my biggest nightmare. If I were ever in a place where I became
man.
famous and they're like, "Hey, you want to throw out a pitch to the Dodgers game?" I'm like, "Oh, hell to the
Yeah,
no!"
yeah,
We're like 50 Cent out there, man.
What if you give it like 2 weeks?
I don't know, maybe, but it's the nerves of it. Okay,
Gotcha,
I think the
okay.
pressure of it. Yeah, it's funny, man. Like I live right near a park. Okay, baseball games going on all the time.
Yeah.
Balls. I'll be walking the dogs. Like foul ball will come to me, and then I'll get the ball, and then I'm like, let me just go run this up to this guy. Because I don't want to try to throw it and it just crack somebody's windshield.
Bro.
And I know that sounds
That's a
so,
movie scene. That's so
dude,
funny.
I'm not joking though.
That's funny.
It's embarrassing for me, but I'll be the first to admit it. Like like I can't throw a football. I could throw one when I was younger.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to throw a football now.
Bro, no. Give it 2 weeks.
Maybe, man.
Bro. We might have to film this, guys.
Yeah,
We might
okay.
have to.
You want to see something funny? Watch me riding a bike, bro.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and I was just telling you about how I want to BMX. That is something. Okay, so a few trips to Colorado ago, I jumped on my brother-in-law's bike and literally like I almost ran straight into the car. And I was like, how do I not remember how to do all of these things? Like I'm like the most awkward person ever. And in my defense, I feel like I was fairly athletic growing up. And for whatever reason, when I turned into an adult, I just went backwards. I'm like, can't do anything.
I don't know, man. Maybe the effort of learning things, shifted, and obviously you're using your mind more. But
I use my mind more. I feel like, and again, I feel like I have a fairly active lifestyle, but when it comes to actual skills, of like, can you do this? It's tough, man, and that kind of makes me think like, okay, should I start doing these things more often? Should I kind of pick up a hobby? Should I try to do whatnot? A real funny one. This is a hilarious one. My best friend Kaha always wants me to do jiu-jitsu. I'm like, why? So you can beat me up in front of your friends. You know what I mean? And I know a lot of that's just the humility of it, but really, like, I it's because I'm just scared to just show how awkward I would be physically. I think I would just get choked out every minute of the day. And
amen.
that might be a good life lesson in itself, but
Yeah.
I think a lot of it is just repetition. A lot of it is just repetition, man.
Hey, man, if you get a chance though, I think it'll be cool.
Yeah?
Yeah. We I joined. I don't do it now. I wish I could. I mean, yeah, pick and choose. I could, but I don't. But jiu-jitsu is super fun, bro.
I believe
it's
it.
super
I'm
fun.
such a fan of just martial arts in general, and it's like, it's so funny because I know that it would be a good discipline for me to get back into. So another funny thing, I took karate like my entire child life. Like In my childhood, I think I did about I want to say a good 8 to 10 years of karate.
Wow,
Can't retain
dang.
it for nothing.
Sorry, Mom.
yeah, Dad. Sorry, Dad. I don't know, man. Anybody like tries picking a fight with me, just watch out for those haymakers. Ain't gonna see no crane kicks or nothing. Just be swinging blindly, like a wild boar.
Hey, who knows, man? That might work.
Hey, my success rate isn't the greatest.
Yeah.
Oh, there are those dogs again.
Hey.
Yeah. What about you, man? You got another one?
Yeah. Well, saying no before was a big one.
Okay.
Yeah. Now I gotta say no. I just sometimes I don't care anymore.
Why did you have a hard time doing that before?
One, I just wasn't stern enough.
Were you afraid of disappointing people?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's the kind of like one of the main, what do you call it? The main core, I guess.
Gotcha.
Scared of disappointing. Well, maybe not scared, but I didn't want to disappoint him. Yeah, maybe not scared, but I don't know if that's a difference. If there's a difference. Yeah, I think that's the main thing.
Okay. What changed then?
What changed recently? I mean, I think I just got to maybe in my early 30s. That's when I started really, really changing and making it stick. And so I just found that like I need to not care for myself more. I got to choose my words carefully, but maybe I just have to put myself. I have to prioritize myself more.
I have a theory that Josh and Zozo contributed to that, because you realize that you have finite amount of time in a day, and you're like, hey, 100%. I gotta prioritize my family and myself before anything else.
100%.
And I think that's super healthy.
Right? I mean, for myself, there's a timeline, and then I understand that now I can't do that and now I don't feel bad about it.
There you go.
Because I'm like, I don't really care about you that much. Well, compared to like my family.
Even people that you do care about, like there's the power in saying no, because if you say yes all the time, and that just becomes like, hey, that's Ray, that's the most agreeable person I know.
Exactly.
No matter what I do, no matter what's going on, he'll drop everything. And again, there's merit to people like that, but also people don't really value your time. Like it's easy to be taken for granted. When you make yourself that available. If that makes sense, right?
And you know what? For the most part of it, I was okay with it because I did like to, help people here and there. But just priorities changed, and that's kind of like where it's at right now.
You're in your main character phase.
I
forget
am.
this NPC bullshit.
Oh yeah. I'm not on a side anymore. I'm not on a side giving out free bread.
There you go.
Yeah. What about you?
Last thing for me, let's see. Things that come hard, man. This is a funny one. Written instruction.
Oh, shoot.
Okay, so this is something that I probably should watch what I'm saying, because I do realize that in my workplace, a lot of instruction is written. I just breeze through those instructions.
Wait, hold up. But that's work life, though.
Work life
different, right?
No, but bro, real life too, man.
Well, I guess what I'm saying is, do you put the same effort in reading work stuff versus...
No.
Or no. Exactly.
Yeah, man. No, what I do consider myself a fairly good listener. Okay.
True.
But if somebody were to be like, hey, read this, I have a difficult time. I don't, it's so funny. I think I'm self-diagnosed as OCD, but I don't know if I have a little bit of ADHD too in there, where like I'll read something, and if it's not catching my attention, bro, that's out the window.
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, I'll just figure this out. And that's so like crazy to just be like whatever, nonchalant about it.
Yeah.
But I guess for me, I feel like my skill set is just being a good judge of character. And for me, I am probably, when it comes to self-deprecating behavior, I can be I'll throw all the humility that I need and just be like, look, I don't understand this. Can you explain this?
Yeah.
Or, hey, can you show me how to do this?
Yes.
And if I can follow it, then I'll learn it.
Yeah.
But if you tell me learn it on my own, sorry, man, I can't. I can't. It's hard. I do better with videos. I've been doing a lot of YouTube You know, like YouTube University is a thing.
It's the best university.
Hey, man, you know, but like if you're to be like, hey, read this instruction manual, like, bro, this thing is not gonna get made correctly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's just the way that I am, and it's so funny because growing up, I was very careful. I was an avid reader. I felt like I was the type of person that highlighted everything, you know, double checked everything, read everything. And I don't know if it's just that I became more careless as I got older, or if I just prioritize things differently. Like my learning styles evolved quite a bit. And as an adult, again, I think I just realized that, hey, you know, I'd rather have somebody explain it to me and show me than me to try to read this and try to interpret it. And that so far has kind of worked for me.
Yeah.
You know, some of the people that I work with, they're like, how does this guy not know how to do this? But I'll be like, hey, man, you know, that's what you're here for.
Yeah. Exactly.
Show me, please.
Show me.
But yeah, that's a thing, dude. What about for you? Dude? Written instruction tough?
Yeah. I think we're definitely on the same page. Instructional stuff. There's certain words where I'm like, it just, because from the way that my mind works is like, I'm always questioning each thing.
Got it.
It's like, wait, what? You say it's adjacent to this thing, but which side are you saying?
Yeah.
If they don't show the picture.
Yep.
And I'm just like, it's kind of tough.
You know what's even funnier though is that, you know, like I always brag about I'm the email master, right?
Yeah.
I'm super thorough. Like boom, bullet points, everything laid out like in the instruction. And if somebody's just like, hey, did you read that email? I'll be like, what email?
Yeah.
Because I'm all like, it was boring. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You got to put some emojis in there or something.
You gotta make it exciting.
Yeah, man.
It's so funny because that's communication, right?
Yeah.
Communication is hard in itself.
I'm all about face to face though, man. Like if you're gonna write me an email and I get it, it's not always the thing where you can have a conversation as a follow up.
Yeah.
But if you were to just be like, hey, we gotta talk. And then I'll be like, okay, cool. And then when we talk, I'll get it. Then whatever you need, you can depend on me 1,000%. When you tell me what to do through written instructions, that's up for interpretation, my friend.
Well, I'm thinking about the ways that you communicate in video. You have 3-dimensional things.
Yeah.
So that's a better hit rate of trying to communicate something because you can see, what you're really talking about, and it's confirmed.
Got it.
Whereas, if it's paper, it's like, oh man, I could have installed it on the left side versus the right when you told me. Yeah. So interpretation, that's the thing. You just gotta, remove any potential miscommunication.
There you go.
And with video,
simple as that.
Hey man, you see everything, instructions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the flip side, okay, so let's talk about some of the things that come easy to us then.
Yeah.
All right.
So mine's music was one of them.
Okay.
The second one would probably, growing up, I never had a problem making friends.
Okay.
Because I was agreeable.
This guy's the nicest guy in the world.
Nice guy in the world. All while having my own my own thoughts and whatever beliefs. But anyway, making friends. I've learned to empathize with people and learn to really just be a good listener. I think being a good listener is a huge thing.
It's such a, and you would think that would be a skill that most people would really, really value and prioritize for themselves.
Yeah.
They don't.
Yeah.
It's definitely a thing.
And one of the things that I noticed was that I feel like I'm a good, I can foresee how a person is, by the way they talk and the way that they respond,
right?
Or don't respond, or when it comes to listening, like if I see someone listening to someone and they just like respond by saying, I had a experience as well, but mine was bigger, essentially, whatever it is, right?
Mr.
The one-uppers.
There you go. We talked about that.
Yeah, we did talk about that. That's a red flag. It's not a red flag, but it's like those are not good listening skills. I think one of the things that I learned was that when you're consoling someone, this is for myself. I just keep my ears open, let them talk through it. Let them find their solution. and then just encourage them. I think that's one of the good ways of being a good listener.
No, definitely.
Yeah,
I agree.
I mean, obviously, you're not gonna agree if it's a thing that's gonna harm,
Yeah.
But in terms of them trying to find different ways of navigating through something,
Yeah.
you just let them talk through it. You let them discover it, and you let them be like, "Oh yeah, you know what? That's super cool that I just thought about that." And
Definitely.
yeah, and my job is just sit there and be like, "That's awesome, man. That's cool." Yeah, so making friends, man. That's
No,
I like to think
that's an
that comes easy.
important one. That's a really important one. Let's see. So I already went on this whole rant about written communication. Yeah, but and again, it's so funny that is something that I'm good at. So written
Yeah.
and verbal communication, I definitely feel skilled at.
Yeah, yeah.
When it comes to just being able to talk to people, I feel like I can kind of walk into any room and be able to adapt to the situation. So I think that served me well. But another skill that's kind of a piggyback to that is earning trust. I think we talked about just being able to really. I think what's good for me, what has served me very well, is that I am very open about things. Especially like in a professional setting. I know what I'm good at and I know what I'm not good at.
Yeah.
And I think being honest about the things that I might be challenged with has allowed people to realize, like, okay, he doesn't think I'm better than
Yeah,
me
yeah,
right
yeah.
now.
Yeah.
And in that sense, it also kind of empowers them when I give that, I almost relinquish that responsibility. Like, hey, this isn't something that I'm good at. Like, can you show me how to do that?
Interesting.
And then for them, that as funny as it is, like when you're in a leadership role, that's really really been beneficial to me to kind of be able to be like, hey, this is what I'm good at, and you guys know that. These are the things that I'm not so good at.
Yeah.
And that really that I think being able to be open about that has served me very well in my professional life.
Yeah.
But in my personal life, just being able to be someone that I think people can depend on. And that's hard, right? Again, as life goes and it gets more complicated, the more we age, you have different priorities.
Yeah.
I want to say that something that I'm really, really proud of is just being able to say, like, hey, these are the things that I got going on, but there's still room for you here. You know what I mean? And I think I always look at it like I try to be the type of friend that I would want.
Yeah,
that
yeah.
makes sense.
100%.
So
Yeah.
Earning trust has been a big one for me. I would like to think that, just being able to be dependable, someone that is honest.
Yeah, yeah.
So we'll see. I don't know, but as I'm saying this, I'm thinking about you, man. That's pretty much you. I feel like you have a very similar. I think the reason why you and I get along is we see things. We have very similar values when it comes to just the expectations that we have out of relationships.
Yeah,
if that makes sense. And you and I don't expect out of others the things that we can't provide ourselves.
Right. Yeah.
So, that's why I consider you a good friend, because I know that if Ray says something, he's going to do it, and if he can't do it, he's going to tell me that I cannot do it.
Right.
And that's the thing too, I think the older we get, the more we realize that, hey, there is nothing wrong with just being able to express your limitations in a situation. That just comes with maturity. I think when you're younger, you're like, oh man, I can't depend on him because of this. And then now that you go older, like, well, yeah, because he's got all this other stuff going on. Like, hey, this guy's got a kid, this guy's got a full-time job, or, he's got to take care of this and he's got to take care of that. And that just comes with just, I think emotional maturity, but also just, life experience.
Yeah. I like what you said about relinquishing, this task because I didn't think of it that way, because and it's not just for you, it's for the whole team.
It is, man.
It's like the whole team benefits.
Oh, well, when I think about how I delegate, you got to just think when you're delegating something to someone else, you're basically saying like, hey, I trust you with this because I know that you are good at this.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Why would I entrust this with somebody that I don't think this is something that they're strong at? Right?
Yeah.
But also, I mean, like, whenever that was done for me, at work or in life, when someone's just like, hey, can you do this? Or I don't know how to do this. Can you show me how to do this?
Yeah.
Like, that always made me just feel like I could trust that person more.
Oh, what? Yeah.
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 And then it also made me not want to let them down, if that makes sense.
Right. No, yeah. I hear you. Yeah, I don't know. That relationship with, your superior and, them being, what do you call it, transparent about something like that. And then for the not the younger one, what do you call it?
Subordinate.
The subordinate to be like, oh yeah, I can teach you that,
Yeah.
But it's funny because it depends who the subordinate is too, because sometimes they'll take advantage of that.
They can take advantage of it, but
yeah.
also there's this just misconception that like just because someone is in a leadership role that they are the subject matter on everything, and that's not reality, dude.
Exactly.
Like, I mean, you gotta get over yourself, right? Like,
Come on.
how many managers or bosses have you had where you're just like, man, this guy thinks he knows everything, and they don't. They don't.
Yeah, they don't, and I hate that. That's a thing.
Yeah.
And
it's a complex because
Yeah.
I think people that lead that way, they're not successful leaders.
I don't think so.
Because most people can kind of see past that facade.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong. You don't want to be the guy that doesn't know anything. You know,
Yeah.
obviously, if you're in a role of leadership, you have proven
Right.
that you can
You
lead
have
people, right? But also, just again, back to that humility, like just being able to say, like, hey, these are the things that I'm very, very good at. These are the things that I want to teach you, but I also can learn from you.
Yeah.
That makes you so much more effective because now you're again empowering your team to be like, oh, cool, I showed Jay how to do this. And by the way, people show me how to do things every single day.
But I'm telling you, those are the kind of bosses that I would love to work for. Who are show humility when if there and who own up to their mistakes. On the reciprocal end or on the other end, it's like that person needs to understand though, like that happens, and they gotta I don't want to say forget, but understand that no one's perfect, like you said.
Absolutely.
Or knows everything. We're kind of at the end of the rope, Jail.
Yeah.
Did you want to close it up or?
Yeah, man. Did you have another one?
Those are the ones that just come off of mines. You got another one on your list?
Nah, man. You know what? I think we're good today.
Let's close it up with some gratitude, bro.
Okay, absolutely, brother.
I was at a wedding once, and one of my friends that live out in the PNW was like, "Oh yeah, listen to your stuff," and it's like this person that I'd never talked to, and I'm like, "Yo, that's cool to hear." And so shouts out to this person. Yeah. I'm not gonna say names, but I was just like that's awesome to hear that people listen.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, man. I just got back from Colorado. I it's so funny because I talk so much about my sister who is one of my best friends, someone that I love very much. But
hey man, let's stop there. That's such a blessing, man, to be
it is.
Really like best friends with your siblings.
Man, it's so crazy. And I feel very, very blessed in that situation that I have somebody in my life that understands me, knows what makes me tick, and also is just always been there to support me.
That's amazing, man.
I can't say enough about my sister Marcy, but I also want to just shout out my brother-in-law, actually my two brother-in-laws. So Tristan's brother, Troy, and then my sister's husband, Aaron, are the brothers that I never had. You know what I mean? And it's so funny because we're all so inherently different, personality-wise, but I just feel like they fill this void that I just didn't have growing up. Just male figures for me that I not only look at upon as peers, but because they came into my life later, I just consider them friends. They're just good, dependable people. Good-hearted. I think they know what my intentions are. I know what their intentions are. They've just proven time and time again that they want to have a relationship with me, and that makes me want to have a very good relationship with them as well. So want to shout out my two brother-in-laws.
Yeah. Awesome, man. That's sick. I love it. Shogun, I'm watching it.
Yeah, bro. I don't know. Let me know if you need some logins, dude.
Hey,
I'm gonna let you borrow some logins here because you gotta get in Shogun. You gotta do the whole Tokyo Vice.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, guys, thanks for rolling with us on this episode. I'm glad you guys are here, and we'll see you next time.
Absolutely. Peace.
Shoots.